Dr. Oqab Ali Say. Thank you very much for joining us on Pakistan TV. Dr. Oqab, though the U.S. and Iran have now confirmed that they have reached an agreement, yet with no draft or text on paper that can be seen, can this really be termed as a breakthrough, or do you think this is just a first step?
No, this is obviously a first step towards something that is much larger. This was always just going to be a memorandum of understanding, an understanding that leads towards a final peace deal as Trump would have it. At the end of the day, what we're looking at is something that will allow them to negotiate their red lines. This is not a negotiation right now, an agreement on the red lines. This is a step-by-step process towards what the red lines would be, and to negotiate the uranium enrichment as far as Iran is concerned and the United States. I think there's an agreement fundamentally that there would be no nuclear weapons, but that's always been the case as far as Iran. There was a fatwa by Ali Khamenei that there would be no nuclear weapons, and the Iranian government has stuck to that. That was never an issue. This was something what we surmise as fitna from Israel's perspective and their insecurities and their outlook and perspective that Iran was going to be a spoiler and their interest in future and their expansion maybe. And this is why they were able to get the United States to go to war with Iran in the first place. So we fundamentally come back to where we were in the first place, where there was no such issue of nuclear weapons. Now, what we've got here is an agreement to lift the blockade, lift the Hormuz Strait choking point as far as Iran is concerned, to allow the flow of traffic to come through, to relax the global environment somewhat. Now you've seen that the market prices for the crude have dropped significantly down to about 80 and going below that now. As there is more confidence and as information comes out, because we haven't got full information at this moment in time, exactly what is agreed and what is not. We have some idea about the fundamental issues, but a lot of it is quite confusing. From what I read about the frozen assets, for example, initially some reports indicate 28 billion, some reports indicate 24 billion, some reports indicate immediate release will be of 10 billion. So as information comes out, because it's very close to what has been agreed, we will have a better understanding of the next few hours and maybe even days. And I think this is welcome by the world more than anything else, and no wonder it's headlines everywhere.
Okay, Dr. Oqab, do you agree that the primary objective of this understanding that has been reached is to get to open the Strait of Hormuz temporarily so as to stabilize the oil prices in the world, as it was that aspect of this war that was damaging the world the most?
Yeah, obviously, this is what I've just said. This was a necessity by most world governments who have been complaining about this and advising to relax this particular situation right now and come to some form of agreement that would allow them to actually sit at a table in more continuous manner for the next 6 weeks or so, or even more. Because if you remember, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action that was agreed upon in 2015 started somewhere in 2013, about 18 to 20 months in advance. And it's a very complicated issue, which requires monitoring, evaluation, verification, implementation of actions on both sides. And this is trusting each other. That negotiation process will allow the trust to build up. And what I've said all along, even on these headlines before, many times, is that the periphery needed to be settled. A certain amount of trust, a modicum of trust needed to be gained to have agreement on the periphery and then work towards the main red lines in the center. And this is exactly what is happening now. They're agreeing on certain aspects to allow Iran and United States to formally sit down and negotiate the finer points, the real nuance points that will allow a peace agreement. Remember, this is not a peace agreement yet. We're going towards a peace agreement. That is what needs to happen, and the final talks need to occur. And this signing is a welcome relief by the world, but it's not the end of the road.
Okay, and Dr. Waqab, this understanding stipulates that military operations on all fronts will cease, including Lebanon. Israel had been attacking Lebanon just like 2 days ago. Can Israel even be trusted? Has someone even talked to Israel if they agree with this agreement?
Well, the fact of the matter is, Israel was attacking Lebanon yesterday. And this whole idea of the memorandum not being signed was also there. The fact is, Iran initially said they would have a strong response, but they held back because of the greater good of the global community. And this is something that must be noted. But yes, there is an issue here. During talks and meetings in the cabinet with Netanyahu and his ministers, Donald Trump even talked to Netanyahu, and the Minister of Defense, Katz, was talked to by his equivalent in the United States, and nothing could derail the agreement. Whatever they said was not enough. Whatever Netanyahu and Katz said was not enough to derail the agreement on what the United States wanted. And that shows that there is a big difference now.
Okay, okay. Dr. Waqab Alizai, thank you very much for talking to Pakistan TV.